Hi my loves, welcome back or welcome to our channel. Welcome if you guys are new. As you already know by the title, today we're going to be talking about the 8 books we read in the month of September. I feel like I say this every month, but September was a very good month purely because we had a lot of fantasy. We were very fantasy heavy this month, which I love. I was so ready to be back in my fantasy era. I feel like the past few months I've only been reading 2 or 3 fantasy books, but right now we've just been like headfirst into fantasy and I love it. I'll tell you the stats so you can understand what I'm talking about. Got my reading journal. As I said, in the month of September we read 8 books. 6 out of 8 of those books were fantasy books. So I'm very excited to talk to you about them. I was also really fortunate to get a few arcs, which were some of my most anticipated releases of the entire year. So I did reading vlogs on most of them, but I was so excited to read some of these books. And I just feel like I haven't felt like that in a long time to pick up books. Like when I'm kind of reading a book, sometimes I get into this headspace of, oh, what am I gonna read next? What am I gonna read next? I gotta go pick that. And I kind of forget to enjoy what I'm reading. Whereas this month, I feel like I was just having such a fun time reading. And then when I finished, I was like, oh my God, I get to pick another book. It was a good experience. So without further ado, let's get started with all the books I read in the month of September. The first book we read in the month of September was Silver Cloak by L.K. Stevens. Now, when I put this on my TBR, you guys let me know that this is the same author as Our Infinite Fates. For YA novels, she writes under Laura Stephen, and for her adult fantasy novels, she writes under L.K. Stephen. I thought that was really cool. It also was really fun to see like her different writing styles. Personally, I think she excels in adult fantasy. This I thought was miles better than Our Infinite Fates. If you've seen my reaction to Our Infinite Fates, I really liked the first like 60-70% and then the last 30% really just like down to the rating for me. This though was so much fun. In Silver Cloak, we are following Saf, and about 2 decades ago, the Blood Moons, which are kind of these relentless rulers that are like evil rulers in this world, killed her parents. And since then, she's always kind of had this idea and determination for revenge against the Blood Moons. Years later, she is studying at the academy to become a Silver Cloak, but then she gets found out that she has this ability where magic doesn't affect her, which is a very, very rare ability. So because of that, she is asked to go undercover as a Blood Moon to kind of corrupt them from the inside out. It's really, really fun. I had the best time reading this. There is a little bit of romance as well, but I would say romance is definitely like the secondary plot to this, which I love. I love when romance is the subplot and not like the leading factor of our fantasy books. There also, I feel like I say this every time, but like there's magic wands in this book. I'm just shocked, okay? I haven't read a book with magic wands since Harry Potter, to be honest, and I love it. Why aren't there more magic wands? I'm obsessed. I gave this one a 4.25. It was a very easy read. It was really easy to understand the kind of world that we were set in. The magical people in this world, like the Blood Moons and stuff, were also really interesting. They were very unique. I hadn't read about them before, and I feel like that's not always the case because you're reading about fairies or vampires or something like that. It's fun to have a kind of mystical being that's quite unique. The very few cons I had, first of all, I didn't get the 5-star feel, which if you know, you know. But at times this book could be a little bit slow. When there was action, there was action. Like when the stakes were high, you could not put this book down. Well, I could not put this book down, but there were times when it did feel like it was dragging out a little bit and I just wasn't connecting to some of our characters as much as I wanted to. In saying that, I did think the chemistry between our main protagonists was really, really good, and the ending of this was not okay. One thing I hate about reading new fantasy releases that are start of new series, it means you just have to wait like a year or more until you can find out what happens in the next book. So that really, really bugs me. But other than that, I did really enjoy it. As I said, a really refreshing kind of unique fantasy world. I liked L.K. Stevens' writing. I thought it was better than Our Infinite Fates. It still grasped me in the same way as Our Infinite Fates, but I just felt like the world building and everything was obviously a little bit more complicated because it's an adult fantasy. So yeah, highly, highly recommend this one. Next, I read The Alchemy of Secrets by Stephanie Garber. This is one of the arcs I received and I could not believe when this turned up on my doorstep. I think I read this like 2 days after this turned up because I just finished that book and went straight onto this one. I was like, I'm sorry TBR, I need to read this. Stephanie Garber is one of my favorite authors of all time. Her Once Upon a Broken Heart series is like one of my top trilogies I have ever read. So Alchemy of Secrets was obviously a very anticipated release for me and honestly did not let me down. Did not let me down. In Alchemy of Secrets, we are basically following Holland St. James, and she's kind of always believed that the world she lives in is magical. A big part of that is because she has a professor who has these stories of local legends and myths, and Holland is more inclined to believe that they are real. Because the blurb doesn't say too much, I'm not going to say too much, but basically we end up in this very magical, mystical world. This is also set on Halloween night, so I feel like it's the perfect read for this time of year. Something about Stephanie Garber's writing though will instantly hook me. Like as soon as I open that page, I'm like, wow, I'm in your whole world. I feel like Stephanie Garber creates a very mystical dreamlike world, and I can't understand it, but like I love it. Like I love her world so much. They just feel like you're in a dream. That's the best way I can describe it. This is Stephanie Garber's first adult fantasy. I will say I felt like the characters were just adults, and that was the adult fantasy element of it. Read like a YA book, like it was very easy, fast-paced to read, and to be honest, I just wanted more. I gave this book a 4-star because of that. Like I was obsessed with what we got, and I don't know if I would class this as an adult fantasy. I feel like it's leaning towards YA. I don't know. That was just my experience reading it. I also just didn't know what characters to trust. I was constantly on the edge of my seat, and I read this in less than 24 hours because of that. Like I was so hooked, and if you're going into a book slump, like highly recommend. But I just wanted more. This is a very little book, and I wanted more of this world. I wanted more of our characters. The ending felt very, very rushed, and I don't know if this is going to be a series. I thought it was just a standalone, and I looked it up and it said it was a standalone, but then one of you guys commented on my videos saying that on Goodreads it says it's #1 in a series, so I'm not really sure what's going on with that. I would love it if it was a series, because if this is a standalone, I just feel like I have so many questions to go unanswered. I want to know more about characters that we didn't learn very much about. There were quite a few characters actually that I just felt like I only got the surface level of. I want a character arc. I want some more development. I just wanted more. And yeah, as I said, the ending felt weirdly rushed, but at the same time, it was like, I wouldn't say don't read this at all. Like it is such a fun, fast-paced kind of read, and I cannot recommend it more because of that. Like it was just so easy to read. Stephanie Garber has my heart. I then read Blood Moon. Now, this was a very random pickup, but I basically got this on NetGalley, which is this site I'm pretty sure anyone, if you review books, can sign up to, and you can request different books to get e-arcs of them so you can read them before release. So little hot tip there. But I requested Blood Moon a while ago because it said it was a vampire fantasy romance, and I was like, guys, this is the perfect time for a vampire fantasy romance. I also just hadn't read a lot of vampire fantasy romances in a long time, so this one got approved, and I was like so excited, so I decided to read this one next. I was just confused reading this one. This was definitely my lowest rated book for a while. I don't like giving books low ratings because like the amount of time and effort somebody puts into that, I don't want to take that away by any means. But then again, I do have to be honest, like this wasn't the book for me. This felt like a replica of Twilight, or like a fan fiction of Twilight, but like rewriting the story. I don't know. Literally everything that happened was what happened in Twilight. Basically, we're following a girl called Mirabella, but she goes by Mira. She is starting a new college in her small hometown, which the hometown itself has a lot of myths surrounding it. Then her dad is the chief of police. Her mum went missing, and so she's kind of always had this like unsolved mystery in the back of her head about her mum that she's kind of wanted to dig into a little bit more. Anyway, she starts at this new school and she meets these two men, these two boys, shall we say. Guys, like the similarities were just a little too intense for me. I was like, this is bizarre. It just was too much. It was too many similarities. I will say I read the whole thing because I'm terrible at DNFing books, and it was easy to read. Okay, there were moments where I was like, what just happened? But like, I don't know if it was in a good way of what just happened. I hate being mean. I hate saying this, but like in my vlog that I did reading this, you guys were like, Frey, you're allowed to tell us what you really think. So I'm trying to tell you what I really think without being too critical. It wasn't a lot that I loved about it. It was, as I said, really easy to read. It was fun being in a vampire kind of world, well, vampire werewolf kind of world. To be honest, my kind of pros stopped there. And then I went on to Fable reviews to see if I was just making it up in my head. Pretty much everyone was agreeing that it literally was Twilight. So I wouldn't recommend. I think there's better vampire werewolf romances out there. That one was a little bit sad. I was really excited about that one. The next book we read was a lot better. It was Reaper at the Gate. This is the third book in the Ember Quartet. I am slowly making my way through it. Oh guys, every book I read in this series makes me fall more in love with it. Not only am I obsessed with our characters, like I love our characters to bits, but I was so excited in this book because we finally got a lot more magic. We got so much more magic, and I was waiting for that throughout the entire series so far. If you didn't know, the Ember and the Ashes series, we are following Leia. This is in the first book, not this one obviously. Her brother has just been captured and taken prisoner because he was found conspiring with the rebels against the kind of main kingdom. Her parents have sadly passed away, Frey, and so like this is her only family left, so she's gonna do anything she can to get him back. So she decides to join forces with the rebels, I guess you would say, and go undercover as a slave into the castle. She's being a slave for the commandant, who is kind of known as this absolutely awful, terrible woman. And most slaves don't last more than like a few days with that woman. We are also following Elias, which by the way, that is one of my favorite names, Elias. Like, it is such a cool name. And he is a soldier in this kind of soldier academy in the castle. I really enjoyed this. I thought it was really good. I will say, I think I enjoyed the second one a little bit more. So I gave this a 4.25, which is still an incredibly high rating. I am obsessed with this series. I love the world we are set in. It is so fun. It is so great. I cannot believe the ending of this. I feel like we definitely picked up where we left off, which I was so thankful about, because that ending of the last book was not okay and the ending of this book was not okay. So I'm hoping we'll pick up straight away where we left off in the next one as well. But the middle was a little bit slow, I thought. I was struggling to enjoy some characters' perspectives. Loved some that I wasn't expecting to. Like the Blood Strike, loved that perspective. And I just kind of wasn't in the past book. So yeah, I was really happy about that one. But then the ending, like the ending was so good. The ending was such high stakes. I could not put it down. So I don't know. I'm a little bit conflicted about this one. Like, it was a little bit like this, but overall I did really enjoy it. And this series, like, is so underrated. Speaking of werewolf vampire romances, we all know that Ali Hazelwood does an incredible vampire romance. Mate by Ali Hazelwood. This comes out in October, I think October 7th. Yeah. And I was so lucky to receive an early copy, not only an early copy, this beautiful hardcover edition from Hachette. If you guys know, Mate was one of my most anticipated releases, and Bride I absolutely loved. So in case you're new, Bride is the first book in this series and Mate is a continuation. I would say that you could technically read Mate as a standalone, but we do have kind of overlapping characters from Bride in this one. So like, it's up to you. You just might be a little bit confused on who the characters are. And we do have a lot of characters in this book. Basically in Mate, we are following Serena, who is the sister of Misery in Bride. Serena is a hybrid human werewolf. And when she came forward stating that, it was meant to kind of act as this like peace bringing for all the species in this world, but instead it just caused her to kind of be this target for like the vampires and the humans and everyone. Everyone wanted her. She was kind of this walking target in the end. We are also following Cohen, who is the pack leader. It is a very interesting dynamic. I think I enjoyed this more than Bride. I did not expect to be saying that because I actually really enjoyed Bride. There were some weird parts in this, don't get me wrong. There were some parts where I was like, okay, what am I reading? But I feel like there was that in Bride as well. And I feel like that's just Ali Hazelwood. Like, am I wrong? I don't know. I absolutely loved it. I thought this was such a fun book. It literally had me giggling and kicking my feet. Like, I was obsessed with this. If you guys have seen my vlog, I literally was getting butterflies from this book. The slow burn was so good. However, I will say we do have quite a bit of spice towards the end, so just a little warning. Honestly, not a lot bad to say about this book. I was obsessed with it. So originally I was like, oh, this is a 4.5. I think it's still a 4.5, but the more I like step back and look at it, there were definitely some parts where I was like, I'm not loving that. So maybe it's a 4.25. It did give me all the feels. Like, I was literally giggling and kicking my feet. I was obsessed with these characters, but there were also moments where I had to kind of put the book down and I was like, Ali, calm down. I just always love tension more than spice. And this did give tension. This definitely gave tension, but it also gave a lot of spice. So I don't know. It's a conflicting one, but I had the best time reading it. And if you liked Bride, please pick this up as soon as it releases because I feel like you guys will love it. The next book I read in the month of September. This one was the most shocking read of the entire month, and that is Kingdom of Copper. This is the second book to The City of Brass, the Daverbend trilogy. I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce it. In the first book, we are following our main protagonist, Nari. She is living in Cairo as kind of this like con artist, thief, healer situation. She does have magical abilities, and one night she accidentally summons Dara. He is also a magical, let me get this right, he is a Deva, and that is a being of fire. In this world, we kind of have multiple types of beings or humans that, well, not really humans, but like people, and their differences relate to different elements. So we have beings of fire, beings of water, everything like that. And they all have different magical abilities, and some are even, I think beings of earth are even more just like creatures than magical people or anything like that. I enjoyed the first book, okay? I enjoyed it, but I read it like over a year ago, maybe just under a year ago. And like, I just hadn't thought about reading this book very much. And then I was like, you know what? It's finally time to pick this one up. I forgot how good this book was. Guys, I was obsessed with this book. I could not put it down. Something about the characters and the writing picked off where we left off, but then we had like this massive time jump. I was like, It was just shocking to me. There were so many moments in this book where I literally like just my jaw dropped. I was like, what just happened in the best way possible? This book makes me excited. This book makes me so excited. And maybe it's because I went in with such low expectations, but this was definitely a 5-star read. Maybe I just didn't expect it to be this good, but oh my gosh, it consumed me. It consumed every single one of my thoughts, so much so that I had it on audio, I had it on my Kindle, and I had it physically. When I was out walking, I was listening to it on audio. When I was on like the train or somewhere I didn't want to bring my book, I was reading it on my Kindle or on my phone. Guys, I had it in every single format because I just couldn't put it down. It's definitely a lengthy book, and I did see some people say that they thought it was a little bit slow, but for some reason I didn't, which is weird that I thought A Reaper at the Gates was. I don't know, maybe I was just connecting to our characters on a deeper level, but I loved our characters. I felt like some of them were so problematic in the best way possible. Every single point of view I was having so much fun in. Also, characters grew on me so much. In the first book, I didn't like Ali very much. In this book, I was obsessed with him. I loved him. I was like, give me more Ali perspectives. So yeah, I don't think I expected to be so obsessed with this, and I am so excited to read the third and final book in this series. I do think it will destroy me. I truly do. I'm also so excited for that reason. I don't know, guys. I don't know why I loved this more than The Ember in the Ashes, because I feel like I'm constantly saying if you like Ember in the Ashes, you'll love this series. There was something about it. Sometimes you can't explain why books give you a 5-star feeling, and I feel like that's the case for this. But I cannot recommend this trilogy enough. I think this is severely underhyped. That wraps up the fantasy for this month. The next book we read was so random, but this was Regretting You by Colleen Hoover. So the movie is coming out soon. And I was like, guys, I gotta read the book before I read the movie, because I had read It Ends With Us. I didn't love it. And then I watched the movie, didn't love that either, to be honest. I've read a few Colleen Hoover books. The only one I've enjoyed is Verity. Writes a very good thriller, I think. Every other book I've read, I did not enjoy. So I don't know why I thought I was going to enjoy this one. It wasn't the worst. It wasn't the worst. It was a really easy read. I feel like Colleen Hoover is known for that. Like, her books are so easy to just mindlessly read, and sometimes you need that. Sometimes after 6 fantasies you need that. So I was just mindlessly reading this one, and I am really excited to see the movie. Whilst some of these characters bugged me so much, I haven't even said what it's about. I don't know how much to say because I feel like the movie spoils everything, like the movie trailer. So I'm just gonna say the very basic premise. Basically, we start out following 2 sisters in high school, and they are dating different guys, and one of them gets pregnant. Jump forward, I think it's like 17 years. She has a 17-year-old daughter. She is kind of trying to find her way in life because she had her daughter so young. She kind of gave up a lot in life early. I guess it's like this exploration of motherhood whilst also exploring her daughter and the struggles of high school and high school relationships and everything like that, whilst also exploring grief. There's a lot of exploring going on, and yet I feel like we didn't get any exploration of that at all. I feel like the exploration of grief was just not there. I was really confused. The characters really bugged me. Miller, I liked. If you've read it, I liked Miller. Let's just say the main 2 protagonists kind of annoyed me. Not for any reason in particular. Like this, I've definitely read worse. They just kind of, like, they weren't doing what I would have done, and I was like, oh, that's really bugging me because of that, which it shouldn't. Like, they're characters in a book. It shouldn't have been like that. But anyway, yeah, I had kind of conflicting feelings towards them because of that. I gave this a 3 stars. It wasn't awful. It wasn't great. It was just kind of easy. And then the last book I read in the month of September, you can hardly count this as a book. It was literally a Christmas novella by Ali Hazelwood, A Cruel Winter with You. Ali Hazelwood writes a bunch of novellas, if you didn't know, and they're really fun. I think she just released a bunch of vampire novellas. I'm really excited about that. I think I want to read them next. But yeah, I randomly downloaded this on my Kindle and read it. Is it too early to be reading Christmas romances? Maybe, but it's a novella, so does it count? Guys, I'm so excited for Christmas season. I'm so excited. But yeah, this is just a little Christmas novella. Basically, her and a bunch of other romance authors, I think like Abby Jimenez and everything like that, they kind of collectively write these little novellas in series, and the series aren't really connected, but they're all like themed. So this one is a Christmas themed. They also did a Valentine's themed, which I read a bunch of them back in earlier in the year. Yeah, they kind of just do all these little novellas, and they're really fun, and if you need some books to tick off your reading goal, definitely recommend. But sometimes when I'm in bed and I just want a quick read, they're about 100 pages each, I will just download them and read them quickly. And it's kind of fun. It's a little satisfying feeling. So yeah, recommend if you feel like it, and if you like those authors, and if you're just kind of wanting more from them, which clearly I was after reading Mate by Ali Hazelwood. But yeah, that brings us to the end of today's wrap up. Those were all the books I read in the month of September. I feel like a very successful reading month. I am very excited about the next reading month as well. Just coming up to the end of the year, so many good releases, so many good books on my TBR. So yeah, I'm very excited. I'm back in my reading spirit and I'm very excited about it. I hope you guys had a good reading month as well. Please let me know what your top read for the month was. I love talking to you guys about it, hearing your thoughts and everything. So yeah, I hope you had a good reading month. If you watched to the end of today's video, thank you so much. It truly means the world to me that you have stayed. I love you all so much and I will see you in my next video.